Once upon a time in the early 90s, the NES debuted its Super Mario Bros. 3. The Nintendo Game Boy used a lot of batteries. Commercials were screaming Mario, and Kraft Macaroni and Cheese was sponsoring Super Mario World. I was about 8 years old. I remember sitting home smashing the A and B buttons, only to find myself frustrated and slamming the controller on the floor. The sound of the Mario World game's tune was in my head. I was humming tunes from it. It was me and my good neighbor who lived next door to me. He would invite me to play Mario Bros. 3. I had finally got a taste of the NES and remember begging my mom for one, even though I didn't have the money. A couple months had passed, and I finally got what I always wanted. My very own NES console bundle with Super Mario Bros. 3 that she had bought me from Toys R Us. I do recall having a thick strategy guide for Super Mario Bros. 3 that I hardly used, but after figuring out about the warp and whistles, I've made it through the worlds in no time. I did manage to beat it without warp and whistles that day, and I was so proud of myself. My dad, on the other hand, created the coolest looking Bowser for me out of Play-Doh. It was something I would never forget until it dried up and crumbled. I used to love Duck Hunt and Hogan's Alley for the NES. Something about using a zapper gun made it that much fun, even though my finger hurt. The Nintendo glove still seemed to amaze me. It always sat there collecting dust because I could never figure out how to program it. Maybe Rob could have helped. Around 1994, I finally got my hands on the Super Nintendo. My first game was Super Mario World. The cartoon was amazing. I used to watch them Saturday mornings in my boxers. It takes me back to being a kid again. Riding Yoshi and hearing him spit his tongue out just brings me joys of happiness, and the sound of Mario dying was pure frustration. As if that wasn't enough, I started a collection of NES and Super Nintendo games. I love the Donkey Kong Country games, and it was the Super Nintendo's first fully rendered 3D game, using a 16-bit power and Donkey Kong himself. Time went by, years went on, and I found myself loving video games. Not just any video games, but Nintendo itself. It was love at first sight. Today, I look back at my old systems. Every once in a while I play it, just to bring back memories. Nintendo Power magazines were my passion, and the sound of "Now You're Playing with Power," Super Power, made me want to keep playing. I would never be what I am today if it wasn't for Nintendo. Sometimes I wish I could turn back time and live those moments again.